everybody. It's Glenn McDonald again with our second version of our podcast today at Mainline Strength and Conditioning. Today we're going to do something a little harder than normal. Chad 1000X, which is a memorial hero wad to Chad Wilkerson, who is a Navy SEAL that committed suicide a few years ago. I'll be showing you some video clips of us attempting to complete this very daunting task today. So please stand by. Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, it's Glenn again with Joe. Joe's back.
Hey guys.
Another interview and some comments that we'll talk about today as far as. And Jesse. I forgot about Jesse. Jesse's here too, right, Jesse? All right. So this morning, we did a hero workout called Chad 1000X, which is 1,000 step-ups onto a box or any type of item that you have is about 20 inches or 24 inches high. So we're using some rocks. There's some video footage on this YouTube podcast also, so that you'll be able to see. So Joe, what do you think about today's workout?
I thought it was a good time. I did something a little bit different. I couldn't pass up the big hill to play with. I saw that there, and I'm on my own personal plan right now. I have some goals that I'm trying to hit, so that was more geared around what I'm trying to do, but I thought it was a good time. So I went up and down a hill for 2 miles worth of work. It took about 55 minutes. Had 20 pounds on my back, stripped down and did a little bit of cold training throughout, but I thought it was good. It was kind of probably the same thing of my legs were burning when I was done doing what I was doing. Yours had to be burning. But I thought it was fun. It was just, you had the obstacle in front of you, and it was something that you just had to go do. So I had a good time. I personally enjoyed what I did because I just kind of went in my own little world and had some
super focused the whole time.
Yeah, I had some stuff I just wanted to kind of take care of in my head, so I just went away and did the work, and it was a good time. Nice. How about you?
Like today, so if you've never looked up the Chad 1000X workout, it's basically it's 1,000 step-ups. You're supposed to have a weighted ruck, or you can use a weight vest. Or if you can't do that, don't wear anything. Just do 1,000 step-ups to about a 20-inch step-up. You can use a chair, a box. Like today, we used a rock to step up on, and it was a great time. Super focused the whole time. I was actually very surprised at myself how fast we actually got through it. Probably just a little bit under an hour, with a couple interruptions as far as like our music turning off. Have to stoke the fire a little bit more because if you didn't see the video yet, there's a bonfire behind us that we're trying to keep warm because it's pretty damn cold out today in Illinois. It's probably only like 25 degrees when we were out there this morning.
Yeah, when it was blowing. You guys moved quicker than I thought, because I know earlier in the week you said that you were like, oh, it's going to be a couple hours. I was originally going to go for 45 minutes, and then I was close to 2 miles, so I was like, oh, I'll push a little bit more, I'll do 2 miles instead, and you guys were starting to wrap up when I was finishing my stuff up, so you guys moved way quicker than I thought you were.
I'm very surprised at myself, because last year I did it in the garage and I was sucking wind. I was hurting bad, like really bad. But it's just one of those things, you just got to grind through it and keep going. Do the best you can. If no weight, plenty of weight, all the weight, whatever you got to do, just keep going. Just like everything in life, because I know for myself, just recently retiring from the Bureau of Prisons after 28 years, I mean, it's some hard times, some tough times you had to get through, and to build that mental mindset of driving through no matter what, even if you have extra weight. I mean, it could be extra body weight. It could be, you know, we have to wear vests. We had to wear stab-proof vests now at work. You got carrying keys. You're carrying all kinds of equipment, all kinds of crap on you all the time. That's why it's so important to work out, especially in a job like that, like law enforcement, fire department, whatever, military. You have to maintain that physical ability to get through those jobs.
Well, I would imagine so. Like I have a hard, or I have a lot to do with my job working around, and my job doesn't entail carrying, an extra 15, 20, 30 pounds. I don't know how heavy a stab-proof vest is, but when you're having to carry that around, or the keys on one side, different gear that you have, I imagine it's hard enough carrying that extra weight, let alone an extra 20, 30, 40 pounds
Well,
of body weight,
right.
on top of that stuff. It's probably all really compounds.
Oh yeah. I mean, I remember a long time ago, I was like super out of shape, really bad. Running across the compound to different incidents, inmates getting stabbed or an assault or possibly a staff assault, something like that, and running across and finally getting across the compound, which is probably like a quarter of a mile. Well, of course you're running top speed as fast as you can. Then you got all that equipment on you. And I remember getting into some of those incidents and not being able to do a damn thing.
Oh yeah.
Because you were just so winded, and all you were really working on was your adrenaline.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what, hey dumbass, you know what, you might have to lose some weight. So I lost weight and got through it, and I felt a lot better at the end of my career, that's for sure, than I did in about the middle of my career.
Oh, I believe it.
Beginning of my career. But this is something you have to do, is keep trying to get in shape for a crazy job like that. All right, so Joe, I know Joe is up to some crazy things himself. All right. So what is coming up for you? I know you're coming up with a big challenge here real soon.
Yeah, so I'm setting some, what do they call them? Some BHAGs, some big, hairy, audacious goals. Setting up some of those in front of me. Kind of a couple things that I want to do coming up is I want to walk 100 miles in under 48 hours. I want to do it way quicker than that, but that's just kind of the initial overall structure that I set up. So we'll see how long it actually takes, but I'm kind of setting that up. And then I want to do a transformation challenge coming up in January through RP, but that's going to be probably like 3 to 4 months. So a lot of that is going to be, there's going to be working out involved, but a lot of that's going to be some pretty strict dieting. So a lot of that really gets into being mental. But those are kind of the two things that I have on my plate right now in terms of that. I want to use some of those experiences to, I think it'd be cool to make a book, is kind of what my thought is. 1 decade abs.
Nice.
Was talking to Amelia about it, my wife, and it'll be a decade coming up from when I first stepped on the scale when I was 18, 19 years old at Arkansas. Saw that I was 230 pounds. I was like, no, that's the wrong direction. So that's when I started. It was a decade ago. And I'll be setting up the goals to try and get my abs coming up here. So
everybody wants abs.
Everybody wants abs, and it's not as glamorous as you think to try and get them. So some lessons learned. I think that there's a lot of stuff. It's through trial and error that I'll get those abs. I finally found something that I think will kind of, I've gotten to the point to where I can lock down and get them if I so choose. But it's also just a lot of lessons learned on the way.
Well, I know since we've been friends, I know you've changed quite a bit, and physically, you're always doing something a little more extreme than the other person. Like a couple years ago, you did the cold weather training where he'd be outside and basically nothing.
Yeah.
He'd have a pair of silkies on.
Today was the hat, and I did cheat. I had these on, so it's sweatpants, but I had them rolled up to the knee. So these were a little bit warm, but it was still just the hat, the rolled up pants, and that was it. And it was probably with the wind chill, it was probably around 25 to 30 today. It was whipping around.
Right.
So got into there. Today it actually just overtook me. I was walking up and down, and I was like, man, I'm feeling really toasty right now. I'm too comfortable. So that's really where it just like, I can do it. It was going to be just something extra immersive. Like it was just another element to the experience. It really grounded me and brought me there into what I was doing. So that's actually what happened is it just kind of got to the point and was like, yeah, I can do this, so I went and did it.
I remember me and cold water don't get along. I mean, I
Cold water
I
doesn't get
remember-
along with anybody.
I remember doing some stuff like that in the Marine Corps and just like, oh man, like this is
Oh
this
my
is
God.
stupid. I'm not doing this crap.
Yeah.
And I mean, we actually a couple years ago we did it with him. We did a couple times.
Yeah, we've done
We
a
did
couple polar plunges now
polar
too.
plunge. We jumped in the water, and I was like, "This is the dumbest thing ever." And I think we have one coming up also.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we will. It's something that you got to do. Once you go get started, you can't go back.
Oh no.
It doesn't have to be something you do all the time, but it's a wintertime exclusive here in the Midwest, so you can't pass it up while we got the weather and the
So
opportunity.
Any local people, if you're watching this, if you're interested in the polar plunge challenge with me and Joe,
Keep a lookout.
keep a lookout.
Keep a lookout. Keep an open mind.
We will be doing it, and it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
But we're gonna keep. All right. So, what do you think as far as like what are the harder things you've done in your life that has like made you to the point where you're at now, to where you can do things like that? Because I know mentally, to do things like cold water, people are like, oh, that won't be so bad until you actually do it,
Yeah.
and then people are just like, screw that, I will never do that shit again.
Yeah. So as far as that goes, I would say it's the slow progression of doing something that's difficult outside your comfort zone, and then from there you get the taste, you see that you survived, and so for me it's what's next
Right.
is really what it starts out. Like I remember kind of at like the beginning of the fitness journey, it was a 5K, and that was fun. I went and did that, and then I was like, I didn't go on to run more 5Ks, but I was like, I got that competitive itch. It was fun. Like I did it with Amelia, and I was a little bit more in running shape than she was at the time, and I was like, I wanted to go and just compete to the next person. But then, you know, the 5K became the Go Ruck. The Go Ruck Light became the Go Ruck Tough. The Go Ruck Tough became the Go Ruck Heavy, and so on and so forth. And it's going through those moments, surviving them, and seeing what you gained on the other side of just like, oh man, I can do more than I thought that I could, type of a thing.
Like say like during the event, because I know like your first 5K, like when you were running, you were just like, oh, this is great,
Mm-hmm.
and you were just mentally you were like, I'm gonna stop, or you're just like, oh, I'm gonna keep going.
I wanted to keep going and Rick, because there was like, it was a big local 5K, so there were tons of people there, so there was just like a lot of people that were like, if I worked harder, I beat you, I finished before you. So that was the one that
Mr.
like,
competition, right?
yeah, exactly, it's fun if you're gonna be going to do something, even if you're not the best, try to be the best that you can, if it's even, you know, I spent a lot of years running cross country. Like my parents made me do cross country when I was younger, and I was the fat kid always at the back of the line. But if there could at least be one fat kid behind you that you beat because you outgritted them, then like you did something. You know
True.
what I mean?
Very true.
Even if you're last, like you finished. It's all relative.
Just don't give up.
Yeah, don't give up. Or like now I want to go do 100 miles because I've done 50 miles twice and I've survived. And so like the one time I remember it was the heavy that we did in Naperville with Cleve.
Yeah.
And I said to you, if you get moved from Chicago to Naperville, I'm gonna show up and do it. Well, you did it, and I was like, fuck, I don't want to do this. But I literally showed up. I didn't train. I was in the middle of my working season. Like I didn't train at all. And I remember it will be with me the rest of my life. We got done with the 12 miler. It was like 7 a.m. in the morning, and we had to get back up. And we got back under the 120 sandbag, and I was like, my feet felt literally broken. And I was just like, how the fuck am I gonna do another 12 hours of this?
You remember, if a lot of you guys have probably never done a Go Ruck event, and I really recommend it because it's a complete mindset change for some people, or some people are just like, I will never do that again. But I remember you totally blue falconed us when we were probably, I want to say, a good 6 hours into it, somewhere in the what's it called, the Blackwell Forest Preserve.
Mhm.
So, you remember what you did?
No,
You don't remember?
what did I do?
You really don't?
No, what's wrong?
So we were sitting there, we're sitting there talking to Cleve. Everybody, we're kind of taking a break, and we're all sitting in a mass circle. So Joe's next to me, Karina's next to me, and Cleve's really close by, and we're kind of like conversating between each other. And Joe strikes up a conversation, probably accidentally, because he was probably slightly tired, maybe a little mentally drained.
Oh yeah.
He said, oh yeah. He's like, yeah, these go-work events are getting a lot easier.
Oh yeah.
The cadres don't make you do too much work anymore. He's like, oh really? And I saw that look in Cleve's eye. And I said, he just blew Falcon the hell out of us.
Oh, I spoke the truth.
And I think we paid for that one after that.
But isn't it the truth?
Yes, it is.
The wrong time to say something, so I can learn my lesson
That's
there.
something you
but-
say, keep to yourself.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. No, now I remember that.
But we learned pretty. I mean, I did. I learned pretty quick from that.
But from doing that one, so like that heavy now. Out of how many you were at? 3. You've done 3 now in total. Because I know we did D-Day together. I know we did that one together.
No, I've only done 2.
Done the 2.
I've only done 2.
Okay, but like of the 2 that we did, like that one
Oh,
taught
that was-
you learned way more
that
from
was
that one,
horrible.
right?
That was
Like
horrible.
you came out of that with something better, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of it. So it was again, like I said, I can understand totally poor timing of something, but like with that standard, with that beatdown, I think that there's something more valuable when you say, yeah, that sucks, but I did. Like coming out the other end, you feel wonderful.
Because it's even like, I'm right now I'm 52 years old, and physically there's some things I can't do anymore. You know, that's just the way it is at a certain age. Sounds like a bullshit excuse, and to me it is, because I'm so dumb sometimes that I'll just continue on doing these things and just continue on abusing myself, and with really no regard to my own physical pain. I just keep pushing through it. Like that event itself, we did 54 miles, and we were there for about 26 and a half hours, somewhere around there.
Yep.
And honestly, like halfway through the event, and plus it was like early September, I remember, and it was hot as hell.
Oh yeah.
And halfway through the event, I was like pretty surprised at myself that I was still going, because before the event I was like, man, I'm pretty beat up still. But I mean, you know, you got to show up.
Yeah.
You got to push through it, get through it. You know, you got to get that mental mindset of just saying, you know what, I can do this. I mean,
That one too, I learned the mindset thing. That was huge for me because I just like that one. Like I said, I just showed up.
yeah.
And I thought it was pretty cool. Like, there's a baseline level of fitness. Like, yeah, afterwards I was smoked and it was walking funny for a couple days. But like, I can show up. I can carry. We had the ruck was say 40 to 45 pounds once you have all your gear in there.
Yeah, good 45.
Plus, I was carrying a 120-pound sandbag with another guy. So walking with over 100 pounds of weight on you for 24 hours. A lot of people can't do that for 10 minutes, let alone, that long.
Yeah.
So I think that just kind of like showing up, that's why I like to continue doing the hard thing is it's something that just over time, like I said, it's the progression, it's the 5K, then it's the next step up, the next step up. Now I've done 50 miles twice, so now I want to do 100 miles. After 100 miles, what does that look like? Do I want to do 200? Do I want to do 100 quicker?
Mhm.
But it's just the point is it's like it's me testing me of going out to do more. It's not like I know I personally don't do it as like it. Half of it's like kind of cool. I enjoy being an outside the box type of a guy,
Yeah.
but at the same time too, you learn stuff about yourself that I can then go relay to people. I can say I did this, and you're like, what?
Yeah, but a lot of people, I mean, from what I see, a lot of people come up with excuses
Oh yeah.
for themselves too. Like, I'm not in shape. Well, then go get in shape.
Yeah.
Then you know what? Call me up. Hey, can I borrow a ruck for a week? Sure.
Yeah. No, I believe
You got a
that.
backpack? You got, whatever you got.
Yeah.
Go do something. Go pick it up. Go out if you got a set of dumbbells. Grab a set of dumbbells. Walk around the block.
Yeah.
It's just an excuse.
I've been doing for the past 4 weeks. I've been doing dumbbell only exercises. I've got a program that I'm doing. It's a set of 15-pound dumbbells, and then I use a 25-pound dumbbell for some of the stuff. But just go through like an hour to an hour and a half or less. I'm done, and I feel great afterwards. So I mean, it's just the doing something And I agree with that, and especially for my journey on it, it's been all self-taught, all I want to do better, I want to change type of a thing. Like I stepped on a scale and was like, I'm trending in the wrong direction. So I had nobody coming up to me saying like, oh, well actually, funny enough, as a kid I did hear like be less fat, but I was never given a here's how you be less fat type of a thing. So like being told something without a strategy to back it up, like that's feeling like something, change it, or like have a plan, present a plan, some type of option. But I've had to do that all for myself, and so it's something that I think is learned over time, and it is the progression. Like that's why I joke I want to write my 1 decade's abs book, because it was a decade of trial and error, and there was ups and downs along the way. It wasn't a straight path by any means. Lots of ups and downs, and so I think it's just really people just like, and I think you can very loosely stick to the idea in your head, and like I don't think it's got to be like a clear straight path there. I think you're gonna zigzag along the way, and I think if you don't zigzag along the way, that you're not doing something right. Just because I think along the way we learn things, and that's why the goals change. I mean, so yeah.
I mean, that's like I look back at, my 28 years in the government, and I look back at a lot of things I failed at, and then I look at, never compare myself to anyone else, but I see the people that work now in the Federal Bureau of Prisons, that they have excuses for anything, to actually just not to go to work.
Yeah.
Never mind doing something a little extra, like being on a SORT team or a disturbance control team or a crisis support team, any type of extra activity. No one wants to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think might be a generational thing that a lot of people see.
Oh yeah. I mean, I see that at work in terms of just like the work ethic of people that they have, just the general like what's acceptable right now. I think it's all just very low. I think that's a societal standard thing personally. I know as a young man that was never taught to me, that was never instilled in me in like to
work harder?
Yeah, to work harder in like an actual way, because there's a lot of like, oh, you're doing good, Joey, you're doing good, but it's like, oh, sometimes you gotta call a spade. Like if it's not good, it's not good, and sugarcoating that, I think, is the huge issue. You have people saying, oh, it's okay, little Joey, it's okay, little Glenn, like, you're trying, but if you're not being effective about, you know what I mean, there's obviously some things, like if, I don't know, the stupid example, if you try to get me to play in the NBA, it's not going to happen, but in real life terms, like, oh, it's okay that you're getting your poor grades, or it's okay that you're fat, blah, 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 but no, some things like aren't okay, some things shouldn't be tolerated. And let's level in a very real way of what are we going to do to get better? What's a plan to make progress? And again, like in the 1,000 step-ups today, if it's you can't do 1,000 step-ups with weight, okay, do it with no weight. If you can't do 1,000 with no weight, do 500 with no weight.
250.
Exactly. And it's I don't like, in terms of somebody who is gotten better and still isn't where I'm at, like that's what I love to see from other people. It's just the trying, like the moving forward. Exactly, because to be a high achiever or reach your goals, there's going to be trial and error. It's not going to be a straight path, but you have to at least put in the effort to do it and do what you can control to make it better. And I think that a lot of that's missing. There's just too much victim mentality. Everybody's saying like, oh, that's not for me, or like part of the reason that I want the abs so bad is there was a time in my life that I said out loud that I'm never gonna have abs, and I'm okay with that. But that's like, no, fuck that. Like I can have abs, and so like everybody wants to be that sculpted GI Joe, and so I'm gonna go fucking do it. And it's gonna be like that's what I get so excited about. You can see me smiling up with joy. It's just like the breaking down the mental barriers. That you self-imposed. Nobody else did it. Like you might have people kind of crab in the bucket along the way of like, people get uncomfortable when you start to do more, and then it's like, oh, so it's funny. I used to get like you're too fat or whatever, and now I get the like lighten up. You can live a little, and it's like, no, fuck that. Like why do I want to live a little if it's not going to where I want to be? And like, if you don't want to go where I want to go, that's cool, but don't stop me. Don't get in my way. Like, what's that saying about you? Just because I'm willing to sacrifice and you're not, I'm suddenly supposed to go to your standard? No, like it's doing these hard things are what set the standard, because you keep realizing you're able to achieve more and more and more. When it turns, when it's that go up light, you're like, yeah, I could do that. And then you go to the tough, like, yeah, I could do that. And like, you suddenly get like,
And you get stepping up. Oh yeah.
you get a little bit of excitement, momentum building.
It was funny, like probably about a good 6 months before I retired, there was a brand new class of new staff that started working, and there's only about 4 of them that were in the class, and I think actually, from what I remember, there was only 1 person left from that group.
Yeah.
So there was this one guy in particular that I brought him to the side. I said, hey man, I said, so how long you been, in corrections? And he's like, oh, I do security. And this guy was like super overweight, super soft-spoken, kind of looked like he was afraid of his own shadow. I talked to him for a little bit longer, and sure enough, guess where he's living? He's living with his mom, right? He's coddled his whole life. And then he comes to the big leagues to work in a federal prison, and the guy lasted, I think a week.
Oh yeah.
And he was gone.
I believe it.
And I tried to help him the best I could. I tried to help him and say, hey man, you gotta go outside and do something hard.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
Sitting around in your mom's basement, playing Dungeons and Dragons, that's cool, but you got to do something.
Yeah.
You have to be the dragon. You can't be little Joey running around all fat and nasty, and then think you're gonna jump into big leagues when you're a little bit older, and then think you're gonna succeed and strive and
not even jumping in doing anything. You can't expect it to be just being a bum in life and expect to get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You do those hard things because then you get to where you want to be. You get that shiny object that you want or whatever. It's you do the hard things so you can make something of yourself.
And I like stuff like that. Like I never, even at work, I would always challenge people. Like, hey man, what are you doing this weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Just Joe officer, just some officer. Nobody, like in my position, I was like really, I wasn't even supposed to hang out with people like that.
Yeah.
I'd say, hey man, what are you doing this weekend?
Yeah.
Just nothing. I said, well, why don't you come out and work out with us? A few people from work actually worked out with us, and
yeah, you got more people out than I have for my work.
They did really well, and some were just like, I'll never do that again, which is good to see, because something challenging like that, you just have to continue on doing hard things throughout your life. Every day you have to challenge yourself, I believe.
Yeah. No, I agree. What have you learned the most from, or like why do you think that? What is it? What's been your progression along the way of just like, I guess, let me rephrase. When did you realize that and commit to that as a way of life?
It's funny because like when I was younger, when I was a kid, I don't know if I was coddled as a kid, because I was looking back. My mom passed away a couple years ago now, and I look back and I'm just like, man, my mom was just like so sweet to me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time she's like, oh, you don't have to go downstairs and get that. I'm like, no, I'll go get it. I was like, maybe I was like always challenging myself to go do that harder thing, even as a little kid. Or I would go and do the dishes, or I'd go and go rake the yard without my dad telling me, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that actually pushed me into like the Marine Corps. And then when I got in the Marine Corps, and the job I got stuck into was a cook, right? And I was like, oh, this is gonna suck. This is freaking horrible. I was like, you know what? No, let me just embrace this. Let me get what I can out of it. Because after a while, I was just like, this really ain't too bad, And I did all the ruck marches, the battalion PT, and all the PT formations, all the formations, the inspections, this and that, everything that was hard. I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Hey, we need before they could say volunteer, my hand was up and I was like, where are we going?
Is there a reason that you were like the one to volunteer? Because I want to hear your answer and then I have a segue. That's why I asked.
think the reason why I wanted to volunteer is because I wanted to be there first, just to see. I wanted to be there first just to see what I can do to make things better for myself and the people that were going to be following me in the next few weeks.
Okay, yeah, I found myself to be like, throughout my life, was always the one to kind of step up and take the leadership role, and it's never been because I've wanted to, as much as nobody else would, so it's like, well, somebody's got to, so I might as well embrace that. Now as I get older, I see that as an opportunity, like you have more responsibility on your shoulders, but you also have more fuck around time.
Sure.
Like if everything's going smooth and is well-oiled machine, like you're doing less, but you have the stress of like if things aren't going good, that's all on your shoulders then. So you just have to do your job. Like there's obviously still overall more responsibility, but I found that in my life that when you do those things, there's also more freedom as well if you're successful and on top of your stuff.
Oh yeah, because I know I learned a couple times when I volunteered for some things that they sent me way ahead of everyone else. I met people that I never thought I would meet. And I learned stuff from them because I was there by myself.
Yeah.
Like, who are you? I'm Lance Corporal McDonald. What do you do? I'm a cook. You are? What are you doing here? They told me to come up here, advance party, to set some stuff up. Oh, okay. Hey, come on over here. We're gonna do this cool shit. Like, yeah.
But by willing to be in a spot of where you put yourself into that hard spot, especially like something like that, is the unknown. Especially in a military setting, like you're throwing yourself, I'm sure that could kind of backfire potentially, where you could be doing some stuff that's like, man, if I would have just gray manned it, like I would have been.
But I don't want to be the gray man.
Exactly.
I want to be out front. I want to be like, where's McDonald at? Oh, he volunteered again.
Yep, and that's what
Why does he do that?
Gain from it.
And that's like everyone says, oh, never volunteer. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Volunteer.
Yeah.
Volunteer.
If you don't do that, what do you get? You know where you're gonna be versus the unknown by throwing your name into the arena.
Yeah.
And you know.
I mean, just like working for the government for that many years. Like, it was funny how many times a lot of people realized that I didn't mind doing those hard things, and they send me on these stupid assignments. A place in where was it? Alabama, Aliceville, Alabama. It's a little female federal prison there.
Mm-hmm.
They got hit by a tornado, right? And the place got fucked up bad. So a couple of weeks after the tornado, they sent me up there to help out correctional services, and I mean it was a freaking mess.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, well, it's gonna be really hard. It's gonna be really difficult. I'm like, okay, send me. I got it. I'll take care of it. What do you need done? Well, just figure it out. Okay, that's my marching orders. I'll figure it out. And I went up there and I figured it out. Got the place back up and running. Got it more secured for them. And, I mean, that once I left, from what I heard, the place fell apart again. But you know, I did what I could.
Yeah, I think I think that's part of the reason why I know I'm going through life wanting to do these things, is what you just said there of how you went there, you got it together, and you left and it fell apart. That's the difference that one person can make, the ripple effect, just in terms of the like just the, you know, what they set, the tone that's set of this is how we're doing stuff, this is how we're taking care of business. It's contagious.
That's part of, but you know, that comes down to leadership too. Like everyone says, oh, I don't want to volunteer, or I don't want to do that. You know what? Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, and that's been my life experience, like I said, of nobody wanting to do it. And so it's, to me, why not me then? If somebody's got to step up and do it, nobody's willing to get uncomfortable. I'm kind of finding that to be almost like a strong life principle that I'm toying around with right now, is how far you go in life is based off of how uncomfortable you're willing to get. Like if I'm going to be more successful than the next person, it's because I was willing to get more uncomfortable than them. A silly example that I proved out in retail was at Meijer. Walking around being overnight manager, you get some characters coming out overnight, right? And just people in general, but you walk back or walk past people, I like to say hello to people.
Right.
But you're going at Meyer, you know, you're the manager, and then there's the person walking by. You can either look down and act like nobody exists. You could stare them in the face, say hello with a big old smile, and you instantly see hello. But it's just funny in that moment, willing to get uncomfortable and say hello first, make the eye contact. You suddenly set the tone of that whole interaction then. So that was just a
or
silly
even
example.
diffusing something too.
Yeah, exactly. But
Hey, because I mean, you're doing something like that, you're actually pulling that person out of their comfort zone too. Because I know through the military and working in the government for so many years, I don't like people. I don't like like starting conversations, things like that. But sometimes it actually feels good.
Yeah.
When you walk, hey, good morning, how are you? And then they look at you like, who the hell is that guy?
yeah.
Oh, I'm just that guy,
Yeah, that's why the one guy, I don't know if you remember, we were at something over the summer, we were walking around Naperville by the river, but the one guy who was walking around fist bumping everybody, that dude, he set the standard for me. Like I was like, but the point being is like your example of doing that hard thing, that uncomfortable thing, it makes a ripple effect beyond what you can see sometimes, because you don't know that the person may not go out and do exactly what you're doing, but they do an iteration of it that then the night it goes beyond of what you're doing. So it starts of doing the stuff here, and then the girl who showed up today, Brooke, who showed up, she did something uncomfortable. Now she's gonna go, in her life and be like, oh, I did this, and then maybe next week we get 2 people who show up new to the club.
Right.
And so it's just you don't know what making that choice is gonna do to push somebody forward, to be the inspiration for them, to just say like, yeah, I want you. Like you see somebody doing something and they're getting results. They're gonna have some credibility to them, and then you're gonna go, what are you doing?
Right.
I want to do that too.
What time are we doing this at? Right?
Yeah.
What time are you showing up?
Yeah, exactly. You just kind of commit to that lifestyle, and it becomes just that, a lifestyle. And I think that's just like where you allow the growth to happen, because you're not setting limitations, and things aren't going to be too hard for you. You're gonna be able to put the hard work in. You're going to be able to persevere, and you're going to be able to explore what comes from that. What comes from sitting here having these conversations? What does that lead into? You don't know unless you go and do that work, and I think it's something that can be applied. Like you can start at a basis of that being through physical work, but then what can you apply that template to? If you're willing to go do 1,000 step-ups and work, for that long, can you like go grind on your business for that long to grow your business?
Or go to work the next day, or
your marriage, your relationships, anything. But can you apply that level of discipline, commitment? I'm going to do this. It's going to be uncomfortable. I think that's a framework that can be applied to a lot of different stuff, and I think it's kind of an easy hack of getting like the physical stuff done, because you could almost even like zone out, go to your shitty place or your happy place, whatever you want to call it, and just like do that, and then when you're done, you're like, man, I did that. You build momentum, a little bit of self-confidence. You did something that you didn't think you could do before.
That's like something working in the bureau. Like, I mean, I saw people, like I would go on the weekends, I would go do a go-rock event, or go do a crazy workout with this guy, or something just off the wall. People just like, you're so crazy and all this crap, and people just, they just would call in sick.
Yeah.
Just because they want, I mean, I understand, calling in sick. It's, everybody needs a mental day here and there, but I mean, people would just be like, I'm not going to work.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I just, I didn't even sleep this weekend because I was out running around in the woods and throwing sandbags and walking around, or sitting in cold water or some crazy crap like that, and they're just like, I'm not even going to go to work today because I don't feel like it. It's like, come on, man, really? Because all that's doing is just hurting the other guy. So
that's what I think you got to start. That's something that I'm learning, is like, instead of being like, oh man, like, oh, that guy's being a bitch, like flip it and be like, yeah, you're being a bitch. Like it's the disgrace is on them, the joke's not on you, because you're doing your stuff, you're taking care of business. So I think we need to start, like, I don't want to say making fun of it. Like, if you're not living up to the standard, give them a poke and say, hey man, is that really the best? Like, is that really the best you got? Look them square in the eye and say that, and then you have to
holding people accountable.
Exactly. I think there's some of that missing.
And I think well, I know we really do that to ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
keeping each other accountable as far as doing the workouts and things like that.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, it's always been a blast. Always is a blast.
Yeah,
All
well,
the time.
especially when you're done, and again, even like in some of them, like I won't lie and say we're the hardest motherfuckers around. Like we modify some of our stuff. We
yeah.
get in the middle of some of our
Like a
stuff, and
shit.
we're like, oh yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So we'll modify it. But you walk away, you still got a good workout in. You still
Something.
were in a group, like a group setting of suffering. So I think like everybody there got better. You build trust through that. You gain something through doing that with other people, and you're better off for it. And so it's, again, I think it goes back to like the big thing that I'm trying to find now here in my almost decade journey of like trying to do better is it's like it's very slow progress. Don't try and climb the mountain if you like don't even have your gear on, so to speak. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
very realistic points, and just like slowly over time you'll be able to look back and be like, huh, I've done some cool stuff, or I have a bigger
Right.
work capacity than I thought. And
Right.
it just slowly over time of I think just going out and doing those hard things, those uncomfortable things. I mean, you're starting here on your diet on Monday. That's going to be hard for you.
Yeah.
It's going to be something new, even just trying to figure out,
Very.
like working through it. I can tell that it's something that's going to be totally out of your zone.
I have no idea how to do that shit.
Yeah, but we're gonna learn, and even if you
No
don't
idea.
go exactly the way you want to, it's gonna be a step one. So then next time
Yep.
you're gonna go into your step. You know what I mean? It's the progress of just learning, and
Mhm.
so it's not anything that has to boggle you. Like you don't have to. I don't know. St. Joe and St. Glenn don't exist. It's us trying to be St. Joe and St. Glenn that exists.
Right.
And so I think it's just the realization of that, and like leveling with yourself and just being realistic. Are you doing good? Are you pushing yourself, or are you making excuses and coddling yourself? And I mean, there's a middle ground for all of it. Like it's hard some days, and
Very hard. Oh yeah.
And it's I think it's a lifelong battle to figure out that kind of happy medium. But
All right. Well, on that, let's close this one out. Appreciate working out with you again.
yeah,
All right.
always.
Remember, always challenge yourself, challenge the people around you, hold each other accountable, and go out there and do something hard. Go out there and do this workout.
Yeah.
All right. Remember, 1,000 step-ups to 24-inch box, whatever you can do with a weighted ruck or a vest on or nothing at all. Just going slick. All right. Remember, keep doing hard things. Challenge yourself every day. Take care of each other, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take care, guys. Have a great day. Do something hard.